Okay, here we are at last, ready to start reassembling the gearbox. It's taken a bit of time because I've been trying to get parts together, which has been necessarily difficult because of the rarity of the box. So the first thing I had to do was to try and get a new main bearing for the output main shaft. Now this is the one that was in the box when I got it, and it's got the shield on it. And so basically it's like it's kind of like a seal bearing. What it is, that's to stop all the oil and grease getting out, but it's open on this side to allow oil and grease to lubricate the actual bearing itself. So that's how they came originally, and there's nothing really wrong with that bearing. I could reuse it, but obviously, you know, it's nearly 100 years old now, so made sense to replace it. So Seb, who I got the gearbox off, he supplied me with a bearing, because wait for this bearing is not metric and it's not imperial. It's what's called I think they call it metrinch. So it's a mixture of metric and imperial. Almost unbelievably, but that is the case. So this internal diameter is imperial because I think it's 1.5 inch to fit the standard main shaft. So that's 1.5 inch diameter internal. But then I think it's 17 mil width and 72 mil total diameter. So the width and the external diameter are in metric, and this middle race is in imperial. So as you can imagine, trying to track one down hasn't been that easy, and that's why Seb gave me that one in case I couldn't find one, but he didn't want to sell it. But you know, in case anyway, luckily there were two. In the end, of course, I ended up with two places I could get them from. I got this from Vintage Bearing Supplies, and it's a fully sealed bearing because, of course, these days they come fully sealed, so both sides are sealed, and that's good because that will hopefully help to stop oil and that coming out, leaking out, because this is a slightly earlier gearbox shell, and they were made without any oil seal at all on the outside of the bearing, and this isn't deep enough. This cutaway isn't deep enough to fit a seal on top, so that you can't fit any kind of seal. So it's good that this is like double sealed, so that should help to stop any oil and that coming out. Anyway, so I got that from Vintage Bearing Supplies, who amazingly had some made, and that was the last one they had in stock, which was fabulous. But then I came across the Aerial Owners Club, and Jeff, who helps run the spares of that, certainly he does the gearbox spares, and luckily, very luckily, Aerial had virtually identical box. They certainly had BA or BAP, Burman BAP gearboxes, because there's lots of different Burman gearboxes and there's lots of different BAE boxes. But anyway, they do the BA box for the Aerial. They used it. So I've also been able to buy two new lay shaft bushes from the Aerial Owners Club, which are great, because I thought, you know, I'm taking it apart, I might as well, you know, replace the bushes. You know, it seems, you know, obviously I replaced the bearing. You know, it's 100 years old now, and these are plain bushes, phosphor bronze bushes. I think the earlier bushes were a strange thing called oil light or something, which were like impregnated with oil or something. Don't quote me on it, and never needed lubricating. But these are, I think, the slightly later ones. These are phosphor bronze, which do need lubricating, and hence they've got the groove down inside to allow oil and grease to get down to lubricate them. And then I've also bought a new pair of bushes for the sleeve gear or main gear. So this is the 5th gear, which will fit in there, although the other way up. The gearbox sprocket light goes on there. That will go inside the gearbox. This gear, obviously, but the actual main shaft runs on these bushes. There are two bushes in here, again phosphor bronze, and if you look, they've certainly seen better days. There's sort of chunks and things out of them. Anyway, again, it just seems sensible to, since I've got the gearbox out, to replace the bushes. The only reason I wasn't going to replace the bushes is if I couldn't get any. But the Aerial Owners Club, luckily, they've oh yeah, so they also can supply these bearings, which is fabulous, and these bushes, which is great. So yeah, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and drift the old bushes out of this sleeve gear. I've already drifted the bushes out. This is completely empty now. I've already got the bushes out of here. So I'm going to try and drift these bushes out of the sleeve gear or high gear, which I don't think is going to be that easy. But what I've done is I've got a couple of sockets that are just about the right diameter, so they just, they'll fit. They should push the bush out without fouling on the actual gear itself. But then to reinsert these, that's very difficult. It's very easy to damage them. So what I'm going to do, if I can get these out, which I hope that I can, then I've got a neighbour who's got a bench press, and he's away at the moment. And when he comes back, we'll see if we can insert these using the bench press, because they can, well, it's not easy to fit them. So I think that'll be the easiest to try it with a bench press. But I'm going to use these to try and get the old ones out. But we'll see. The danger is if I try putting these in, you can easily damage the edge, or they can go in skewed and all sorts. So a bench press, which is a slower sort of format, I think would be a lot better. Right, but I'm going to go up. I'm going to put this in the my outside barbie. You can use the oven to heat this up, but it just smells a lot. So I use the barbecue outside, which keeps everyone happy. Then got my blocks of wood, got these lump hammer, and see if I can drive these old bushes out, and hopefully they'll come out, but we'll see. The trouble is, of course, now I'm heating the steel and the bush at the same time, so the bush is going to expand a bit as I heat it, but hopefully the steel will expand more than the bush. Okay, so I'm quite looking forward. I was going to say this will be my first actual bit of assembly, but it won't be, because I'm still disassembling. My first bit of assembly next after this, I'll probably put the lay shaft bushes into the one goes in here, down there, and the other one goes in the inner gearbox casing. Right, anyway, I'm going to heat this up and see how we get on. Okay, I've got the sleeve gear roasting nicely on the barbie. I'll probably get it up to about 400 degrees Fahrenheit, about 200 degrees C, something like that, maybe a bit more, because it's steel. So with alloy you've got to be a bit careful you don't melt the alloy, but with steel, oh god, that wind's cold. God, it's cold today. But yeah, I might get it nice and hot and then see if we can get those bushes out. Right, success. I managed to drive the old bushes out of the sleeve gear, out of the high gear. I used this socket that was just the right diameter, so it would go through the sleeve gear, but it could catch on the actual bushes. But they didn't want to come out. They did not want to come out. There was a lot of hammering going on. I'm quite pleased that wasn't on camera, to be honest. A lump hammer and a lot of hammering. But anyway, they came out. But to put the new ones in, I'm definitely going to have to use a bench press and try and, because I know they're going to be difficult to get in, because those didn't want to come out at all. Then I've got the new the bush for the end of the lay shaft. That's still hot, the casing. And I put that in again, heated the casing up, that's why it's hot. Put the bush in the freezer, try and shrink it a bit, and it went in pretty easy. And I just used the shaft of the hammer there, and then hit the top of the hammer. So it was, because obviously you don't want to damage the face of the bush. and that's all gone in well. And then and there it is the other side. Right, yeah, so there's a Welsh plug that goes in here, which is a bit like a core plug on the cylinders of a car. So you put it in and you whack it in the center and it will seal. But this is a special plug. It's an alloy plug, not a steel plug that you would find in a car. But again, luckily the owners club, the aerial owners club, sell them. They're out of stock at the moment, but they're getting some new ones in. So when that comes, then I can fit that Welsh plug to hopefully seal and stop any oil coming out the back end of there. But obviously we'll do that later. And there's various other new bits I've got for the gearbox, and we'll go through those as we rebuild the gearbox. But that's in. Those two are out, and the next job is to try and insert these two new ones into the sleeve gear, which will be a few days because my friend's away. Won't be back till the weekend. Hopefully the bench press will work on that.